Hi guys, I'm going to make a bit of a long video today, so bear with me because I've been having dreams about earth changes and I don't want to be, the alarmist prophet, but I also don't want to be without the accountability to share what I'm experiencing and to be honest, right? So some of you know I had a quantum healing hypnosis session recently with a practitioner named Ron Amit, and his brand is Transformotion, like transformation but with an O. And in that hypnosis session a week ago, I was guided to look at some of the changes that were happening on the planet in the future. Well, what seems like the future. In other words, who knows? Are they just timeline jumps, whatever we call it? So we have this kind of time that we're in right now, and we all can experience and feel that something's not right, in a good way sometimes and not in a good way. So first of all, let's go back and talk about, before I tell you the coastal timeline, coastal changes and earth changes that I experienced in my quantum healing hypnosis session, and also in some dreams I've been having in the last 2 weeks. Let me just talk back a bit about the context for these dreams and for this session. I'm experiencing a time for me where I seem to feel like reality is increasingly surreal. And at the same time, it's surreal, it's kind of poignant. It's almost like I'm looking at reality as a memory, as a fond memory, even as I'm living it. So it's a little bit different than deja vu. I don't mean that, oh, I've done this before. That's deja vu, or I feel like I've said this before. This is rather as if I'm in a vintage photo of life. But instead of things being faded, like the yellow flowers are more yellow and the blue sky is more blue and the trees are more green and everything's kind of extra luminous. And these are coming on like episodes, the same way you might have, like the light just did something weird, the same way you might have a kind of temporal, epilepsy or something. They're coming on, not like seizures, but they might be, because they're happening in episodes. But instead of just fleeting, like for a few seconds, sometimes these episodes for me are going for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. So I want that context to be front loading that, because maybe you're experiencing this bittersweet nostalgia for reality, as if as you're living the very moment you're living, it's as if you're living a memory, as if you travel through space and time to a poignant memory and you're reliving it with a deep understanding this has long ago passed. It's very haunting. It's very, very haunting. So in the context of that, and of course the yellow sun now being really white, and other strange changes, and of course we all know the Mandela effect continues to do its weird thing, I've also experienced this impending sense of global change. And so in my quantum healing hypnosis session, which is really beyond quantum healing because we did it by Zoom, and I can put the link to that session below this video for you if you want to go watch it. It's like in 3 parts. It's like 3 hours long. It's quite long. I saw that there were coastal changes to do with water, and that some coastlines didn't exist the way we recognize them today, namely California, some of Washington, Portland, Oregon, I should say, and other parts in the world. And rather than me going through every single part of the world that had changed, that I observed, it's probably best that if you really want, go into the video link below, and I will include in the link below perhaps what point in the video you should like cue to, like how many minutes in, if you really want to look at my version of the new Earth, or the Earth that exists in the future post some kind of event shift. I do believe I had timelines in there. I'm not remembering right now. I'm not convinced that anything I say in a quantum healing hypnosis session, or anybody, in terms of timelines, is going to be accurate. I just don't see it that way. For some reason, I think there's a really hard time pinning down timelines, maybe because we're shifting through various timelines ourselves, So a timeline for one timeline, like one-dimensional in the brain world theory, one dimension is going to have a different time in the timeline in another. So who knows? There's a thought about that, just to ponder. The other thing I'm doing is I'm dreaming at night in my dreams. I've had a history of prophetic dreams. I dreamt about the trade towers shaking and on fire and people racing out months before the trade towers went down in the 9/11 event. I dreamt about earthquakes and tidal waves before they happened. I've told people about the dreams, and then, you know, something happens. There's always an earthquake somewhere in the world, so that's a little dicey, that one. But before the tsunami in Japan, but maybe 2 weeks before, I had a very big tidal wave dream. And so when the tsunami hit, I remember saying to my husband at the time, oh my God, remember that dream I told you about? So the dream that I'm having reoccurring in the last couple of weeks now is I'm on a shoreline trying to usher people to safety. And I am not running for my own life as much as I'm trying to guide others. So there's a very interesting part because I can see the mystical and the metaphorical dream symbology, being a guide, you know, getting others to safety, you know, so maybe that's a role I'm here to play on planet Earth. Safety metaphorically, safety spiritually, I don't know. I know a lot of people, and so there's something coming in off the shore. And one of the dreams recently, about 3 nights ago, the clouds were rolling in off the shore. They were dark, really ominous and strangely shaped, almost like they were entities. And I was on the shoreline and I was telling people how to hide. And the next dream, like last night's dream, for example, was more literally, there was something coming in off the water. And I was guiding people to high ground to get away as quickly as possible. And in the dream, there was 3 p.m. There was a time for that. And that's an interesting one because I don't think, maybe it is something that's going to happen at 3 p.m., but 3 could be also like the 3rd month of the year, March, or 3 months from now. But the number 3 was present in last night's dream. So I'm putting that out there only to say, is anybody else out there having dreams about something coming in off the water? Something ominous or something heavy? It felt like rising water was probably the thing that we were moving quickly away from in last night's dream, because high ground implies, you know, rising water, you're okay, right? Safety. Whether it's a tsunami or it's just water levels rapidly rising, I'm not sure. The last thing I want to say is I kind of feel like there's an event, you know, that we talked about the event and the event waves. I woke up at last night, by the way, from that dream with the rising water and running to safety and helping people to safety. I woke up, I still have my pajama bottoms on today. I woke up at 3 in the morning maybe, oh my God, it might have been 3 in the morning, I don't remember the time. And I was having a full-blown Kundalini activation. And what that feels like is I'm lying on my back. No, I was lying on my side. And I'm thinking we're having an earthquake in Vancouver, Canada, because my bed is shaking. Like, and then I realized, oh my God, it's not the bed that's moving. It's my body is vibrating, like jackhammering on the bed. And that's like Kundalini. And so then I rolled onto my back and did some breathing and calmed myself, like kind of moved the energy a little bit and soothed it down, right? So that it finally stopped. But I'm bringing that up too, because I was going to say that with these waves that people are reporting, there's so many people out there writing about them or blogging on YouTube about them and talking about what they are, like magenta pixie and all of that, about talking about the, you know, it's qualitative difference of each wave and the times for each wave. Somebody said there was going to be a wave on May the, okay, I got my dates correct. June the 26th. Sorry, I have space-time coordinate issues. And on June the 25th, I was hit by bliss wave. It lasted as bliss until the end of the day on June the 26th. Then on June the 27th and 8th, I had fatigue and body aches, and sort of less of the bliss. So, so there was something to this, guys. I mean, a bliss wave that lasted 24 hours and put me in a hyper state of joy and like elation for no good reason. And I had forgotten about that June 26th prediction by somebody out there doing the wave prediction material. So there's something to this thing that we're being hit by waves of some kind of energy, photonic, whatever. It's impacting people. They're getting headaches. They're getting physical symptoms. They're having emotional states happen because of it. And I'm bringing this up because I wanted to say I feel like in some way there's going to be an event, like an event, the final, you know, big one. And that a lot of what we're experiencing now are like timeline ripples backward, like retrocausality, rippling back from, like echoes of that big event. In which probably some way space-time is going to collapse. And then when we say, oh, we're going to go to, you know, 5D Earth and all that stuff, and people have this vision of kind of like some utopian society on a new version of Earth, I'm like, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. I really don't. But I'm not buying into that storyline. I'm not even buying into the storyline that just because you're in an awakened state, you know about the Mandela effect and you're woke, and then Mandela effect and you're woke, and you're having all these experiences, ascension waves and stuff like that, that you're still not going to live through hardship on the earth, that we're not going to have like rising sea levels and tectonic plate shifts on volcanoes, and maybe a breakdown of technology and civilization as we know it. That could happen, and you could still be on 5D Earth. I know people don't like that one because all the real super 5D Earthers are like, it's, it's almost like the rapture, we're all going to be sort of saved from any hardship, and we're going to live in a state of bliss and oneness. The last thing is, I did hear somebody say, well, it's what you choose, right? If you're focused on the negative, you'll be drawing the negative. If you focus on the positive, you'll draw the positive. I do believe we are reality creators. We're sparks of the divine, but we're collective reality creators as well. So yes, I could focus on the most positive outcome in which, I'll be at a safe place and I will be guided. But I don't know that I can then create a whole world in which it's nothing but, the sound of music, These are a few of my favorite things. La da da da, dee 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 dee. I'll just pick rainbows and butterflies. I think we're all going to have to experience some real world changes, as well as the energy shifts, as well as our way of awakening and ascending and growing and expanding. Anyway, I'm signing off. It's gone long for me. I don't like to make long videos. Oh, see how the light just did that? That is so cool. I'm in front of my window and I have a little light around my camera as well. So because it's dark and dreary here in Vancouver, we have had the most crazy weird summer right now. We had a heat wave, but now we're in what feels like fall. It's not, and it's been dreary and cool and cloudy, and it's not even just full on raining. We just get clouds without the rain. I've got the heat on in my house right now even. So yeah, maybe we live in interesting times. This is not the normal Vancouver weather for nearing July 1st. Okay, guys, I hear my kids out there. Mwah.